Dear Gavin, welcome once again.
Thank you, Sinem. Pleasure to be here.
I would like to ask your opinion on what impact you think the wind propulsion solution have on the industry's efforts to meet emission reduction targets and improve compliance.
Yes. So if you put a wind propulsion system on as a retrofit on existing vessels, then we're looking at probably well over 60 to 70% of ships can easily take a wind propulsion system, and effectively 100% of ships can in some way take a wind propulsion system. So when you're adding an energy source that's zero emissions to the mix of energy that's required on the vessel, then the compliance targets, and I think the IMO's compliant targets, it's 6% and 21%, I think, or in the low 20s for the first steps of the net zero framework. You would already be significantly compliant with a fairly large system retrofitted onto a vessel, delivering between 5 to 20%. But something we also need to remember is that is just compliance to the greenhouse gas emissions targets. And what we're also seeing with wind propulsion is that you are de-risking the future compliance as well. So there are no emissions from wind, therefore there's no black carbon emissions, even underwater radiated noise, which is a climate impacting emission from the vessel. That obviously wind propulsion doesn't require the propeller to be used there, so you can reduce the load on the propellers, thus reducing the impact there. And just to give you a broad idea on a sort of macro sense, if we were to install wind onto the entire fleet in some form or other, delivering up to 20% of the energy requirement, then actually by 2050, the amount of fuel that was saved would effectively deliver the cost of the decarbonization of shipping in its entirety. So between 1.5 and $1.9 trillion that's required. So it can be a very significant player in the macro sense, but also for every ship that has wind propulsion, you become compliant to the regulations, and there will be pooling for any excess savings that you make. So wind propulsion, in many ways, we like to think of it as a win-win-win situation.
Very interesting. Thank you, Gavin, for your contribution.
Thank you, Sinan.